start things up. I know everything's in a talking way. Before I do a big old call out for stuff, I'm going to start reading some poems from CC&D magazine. I'm going to start reading some things from the current issue of CC&D magazine. I'm just going to throw some Dead Man movie background music in this and just read a bunch of things off and start off the evening with that.
No idea.
It's a tape player.
What, this?
A CD. What is
That's an MP3 player I've got there.
MP3.
It's a little thing, and I happen to have the songs. It's cool sounding. Is that an okay volume? Is that good for you?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Tristan. I'm just going to start reading some really short poems. This is from the current issue of CC&D magazine. The cover was actually from something that was in India, but it didn't say CC&D on it. It said something else. I said, I'm just going to make it work because it's really cool to find stuff like that on the ground. This is the first verse of a poem by Brian Looney. I know some of you know that voice. This is the instance of being. And I'm not calling for applause if you don't feel it or whatever. I've just got a bunch of stuff I'm going to read for you. This is the instance of being, the first verse from Brian Looney. In an instant of being, I can only breathe. I can only slake my thirst in undisturbed reflection, private, ineffable, unexpressed. It dies the moment it lives, but lives the present beautifully. This is a really short one, which I think a lot of us might appreciate. This is from Donald Gaither, and it's a really short prose haiku-esque piece called Arthritic. Spring rain, but I am old. Everything creaks. This is a piece by Kelly Jean White, MD, called Dutiful Daughter. I drive to 3 stores to buy her brand of cigarettes, then push her wheelchair out to the nursing home patio so she can smoke. I catch myself. Can it be the first time? Swearing, saying, bitch, under my breath. This, 2 haikus. Philosophers ask, if all we are chemicals, why do we cry? He thinks, after a loved one dies, and he's filled with questions and angst. I wish I had open micers like Bob Lawrence here, because he might find this one kind of funny, because it's sciencey. Is the universe expanding? Scientists say yes, but some scientists say that something doesn't exist until we observe it. So, with increasingly more powerful telescopes, we see farther into the edges of the universe. So, is it only expanding because we gain the technology to see farther and farther? Are objects moving farther and farther apart? Or are we just seeing and therefore creating a larger and larger universe? I have to end with one of mine here, which I think I've heard people laugh at, but I don't see why. This one's called Jabbed into an Open Nerve. I am afraid of what I might say, because it might sound like how I feel. like someone has jabbed a metal pin against the open nerve of that exposed cavity in my rat-like teeth. What does it feel like to read a soul like mine? I don't know. But let me brace you, rehashing this, revealing this. It just might hurt. I should fade off the music. And, well, no, that's how I'll turn it off. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hi, and welcome to a really laid-back intro opening of the Cafe Gallery right here at Gallery Cabaret. I don't want to talk excessively at length about, and actually, John, I know I have a piece of paper over there. There was a piece of news, a little 5x7, that actually talks about, you got it, right there. That actually talks about the fact that we always hear about, like, oh, the 1%ers in the world. And I found this really funny, and I had to write this thing down because most of us are probably in the 1%. They did a stat on it because it was actually started on something globally. I don't know what country it started in before it came to the States. So if it was a global thing, who was the richest 1%? Globally? If you make $34,000 a year, you are in the top 1% of the world. It's just like, really? I know it's probably, us Americans probably think about it like a US stats, but it's just kind of funny to hear that one. I'm like, so I guess half of us at one point in our lives have been in the top 1% of the world, but, and I mean, really, like you don't think about it, but really?
Certainly, John.
Well, I mean, like when I started working, I surely didn't make that much. But then as I was around, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. But, but I think like half the world's richest in that 1% live in the United States versus other things. But and then I was like, I was thinking, I'm like, when I was thinking about it, I'm like, who is the richest 1%? They've got to make like millions a year. And he's like, no, you actually only have to make 34. And I'm like, no, shut up. Think about what money have I have scraped together, and I was and I should also give this warning off because I was going to wear a vest too. I'm not a Chippendales dancer for having this bow tie on and a shirt like this, and John said, well, you had the shirt, and I was like, are you a White Sox fan because you got that? And I'm like, well, no, I wasn't doing it for that, but that is true that the White Sox actually played today. In where the one place where they actually said that you're not allowed to come in because the violence is so bad at like Camden Yards, and they had a closed circuit, you know, the press and everything were there, and that was it. It was the strangest thing to watch, and they still lost. But
Probably thought the White Sox would start a fight, that's why they did it.
Yeah, right. But anywho, this does seem to be a laid-back time because we've had a bunch of shows going on beforehand. But in the meantime, I'll give a little pits or a little bit of applause for what I think is going to be a really awesome feature. Give it, please, just for what's here right now, give it up for Florine. Yes! I want to yell into the mic. I might read a thing or two toward the end, but in the meantime, I'm hoping I can get Elizabeth to come up here with. Are you ready, my darling? Please give it up for my angel, running the rest of my dear Elizabeth Gerber. Like, this is how we're all about.
I'm not in love with you anymore. You bore me to tears, you have for years. I'm not jealous. I wish someone would take you off my hands, out of my life, out of my way. Away from the knife in my hand that wants to plunge itself into your heart, cut it out, and tear you apart. You behave like a psychopath. That's not the way to make friends. We could have been partners in crime. Turns out you're no longer worth my time. You're off your game. We're not the same. I've loved you, but now I've shoved you out of my home, out of my heart, out of my bed. Now you're grist for my art. Posterity will admire your body parts. You're an awesome cook with excellent taste in chicks and books. The gifts you gave me I will always cherish. Neither one of us will ever be fit for marriage. It's been quite a ride, but now it's tired. You shouldn't have lied to me. In the past, I could say you broke my heart, but now I'm not in love with you anymore. We're doing angry ones tonight.
Yay! Anger. Sorry.
Anger.
The world is a fucking torture chamber. The world is a fucking torture chamber, endless videos of schlock horror porn, or actually, it's more subtle than that. Endless cubicles of particle board, computer screens, perfunctory greetings. I see people and I want to sodomize, rape them, kill them in their sleep, or wake them up just to see the surprise and terror on their stupid faces and to puncture their flesh to see the contortions of pain. You think you want to know me? You don't have the guts, because I disembowel you as soon as look at you or have you look at me. Fuck you, fuck this whole system, fuck everything and everyone you're supposed to be. I shit on everything and then finger paint with the feces.
Oh, yeah!
I'll do one more. Thank you. Masturbating to torture porn. Masturbating to torture porn, fantasizing about gouging out handfuls of your flesh, fucking the gory gashes, my pinup doll, my carnival prize, my knight in shining armor, facing his undignified demise. I wish I never loved you. I wish you didn't exist. I wipe my dirty boots on your dead body. I bury you under the earth. I'll never understand people like you, and you will never understand me. I'll wander through the world unsatisfied, lost, adrift, and misunderstood, despised by all, including me. Thanks.
I feel like I have to act like
The mother had to go, we don't despise you. We hurt you and such. And she's like, you shouldn't like me, trust me. I mentioned that I had this bow tie on, and the only reason why is because it's John's, and it's going to be our wedding anniversary before my next thing, so I thought this was the closest thing I could get to romantic is because he wore a bow tie on our wedding day. I don't know what I'm doing. That saves me from wearing a necklace, I guess. I don't know. Choking myself with a bow tie. In the meantime, I'm hoping he's giving us a bunch of originals, and as well as his usual slew of covers as he does. I don't know if he wants to, oh, well, he probably doesn't have the one that I accepted for CCD that he just read like 2 to 4 weeks ago. What was it?
I do, but I'm not gonna.
Okay. Oh, Pasha. Well, I have it on video, so if people want to check
That's
out that.
right.
I did put it into a separate video so I could paste it in with the issue when it comes out at the end of the year. But in the meantime, please. Oh, and he can tell you about how awesome he was at the Poetry Bomb, going from place to place. Please give it up for the Bobs himself. Get over Bob Rush now. Woo!
Thank you, Janet. Yes, the Poetry Bomb was great. Some of us went to Giddings Plaza, which I used to call Poetry Square. I won't go into that. That was on Sunday, and there will be another one next year around the same time. So join. Okay. This is my latest, and it's called Homo Cogitans, which is the closest I could come to thinking man in Latin. It's inspired by the words of Anne Sexton. 1. I am studying. I am reaching into light, looking for a real realness. A flood of life invades my space, my hands turning the wheel of the Rolodex turned white. Oh, all I've missed. Such strange abundance, creeping happily into my study of gray and solemnity. 2. Led by the quints of boxes forged from a single stone, the wild terrain of the surface chinook greets my gaze on the landscape below. Night of 1,000 sighs, the streetlights drink it all in. The stoic lions, the striped tattooed tigers, The twinkly clowns juggling tinkling trinkets. The filthy rats, all too proud to be invited. The shunned and ignoring swine. The reptilian companies, the brutal but gracious apes, the quiet, compliant cattle. No drop of rain will dampen the spectacle. It spills into the wide, war-torn boulevard toward the empty, attainable stars. Breathe. My hands turned to chalk. My eyes caught the deep blue of the Pacific. My spine stood attentively, bracing. The winding of the wheels, the reset of the clocks, the endless semaphores of time passing, the buzz, the crackle, the ping, the pendulum swinging back and forth, for I don't want back, to dream the forest electric, to climb atop the lightning redwoods, to have the sparklers in my ice cream sundae, to ride them into the whipped cream clouds, to speed zooming out into the dark, starry universe. I spoke to the dream. I asked it to bring me back, to give me once more what I knew as a child, without a sex, without identity to frame my untapped fleeting form. Bring me back, I begged it. Soon, awake with the alarm. I must have been dreaming when I freed it. There'll be no going back. It is mine to only go further. Thank you, and thank you, Anne Sexton. And now I will read, I have found my original poem from, I believe it was 2006, President Hillary. And then I will read President Hillary Revisited, and then I'm going to vanish from the stage. Let's see. Where are we, President Hillary? That's a good question.
She's avoiding all press. Because
Right.
They ask questions.
Here she is.
And most presidents, when they say that they're going to be running, they it takes them up to 4 days and then they're out there. But she's been 2 weeks and she hasn't been out since I know.
The voice beams from my car radio. It's our nation's leader, elected by whomever, pretending to justify more money for death and destruction, and less for hearts and minds in this land of plenty. He offers no reassurances, no words of comfort or hope or encouragement. Smug, self-satisfied, and properly counseled in the art of addressing the hordes, he keeps saying the same thing with variations. Wait and see. I'm going to make this happen. Stay tuned. This will all work out. You'll see. It's all coming together. Coming soon. I'm proud of my staff. You should be too. Disgusted, I shut the radio and that foul mouth off. I can't help it. I begin to imagine President Hillary. Magic wand in one hand, magic mirror in the other, smiling blessings at the people, tossing bouquets of lilacs, carnations, promising Wonderland, Candyland, Barneyville, Rabbit Hill with enough for all, and Shudder delivering. And this is President Hillary Revisited, which I just wrote a few weeks ago.
So it's not just an edited version of the other one, it's totally different.
Well, I didn't think I would find the old one, so I wrote it again in a different way. President Hillary Revisited. The time has announced itself. The gloves are donned. She is inside the arena and is hot to win the game, facing a lineup of opponents with puddles of blood obscuring their hands and faces. They glare coolly, call her old standby. She mounts her horse grandly, cracks the whip of time, and rides gloriously into the center ring. There are boos, razzes, catcalls, disbelievers who cry out, "She won't handle the terrible burden," offered up by soon obliterated, late obscured Obama. She laughs, winks at the camera, and rides on. No artist could paint such pride. No sculptor could capture such glory. Thank you.
And they have a totally different feel. You got it, Angel. I'm out of your way. Go ahead. Totally different feel for it. It was awesome. And I guess I should grab the paper stuff. Because I was thinking I was going to read something. Da-da. It's the boss lady's turn to read, I guess.
Oh, and somebody laughed because I said boss lady, and the reason why, from CC&D from past years, I ran editorials and I called them the boss lady's editorial. And then one time, like years later, and I don't think this guy was aware of this as editor of another magazine that I've known, C. Rob McCord, he addresses emails to his boss lady. I'm like, that's really funny because it was boss lady's editorial, and so he's just making jokes about that. But the first thing I was going to do is, I'm not going to go traipsing it around, but this is the time for me to show off the purple bag. Dun, dun, dun. And the reason for that is that I'll come around personally and bug all of you to put your life savings or something into this for our phenomenal feature, which will be after our break, because I'm going to take a break after reading poems. But I'm sure it's going to be an awesome, awesome performance. But I see somebody come up there. Is that a guitarist that I saw earlier? Or I can't see it. No, he's like turning around. No, not. We're here for the open mic. I'm sorry, I can't see with the lights on my face. I'm an idiot.
That's my satchel of poetry.
So, would you like to? I was going to close off by reading stuff for the open mic. Would you like? I don't even know who you are. Yell out your name. I can't.
Dave.
Dave, would you like to just come on up here and just read for a while because you're awesome?
I used to like go back to my apartment and get my other poetry book there, but
If
yeah.
how far is that?
Oh, 5 minutes.
Oh, well then I'll read and then you get your book back here and you read stuff for me.
All right. Good call.
Awesome. Then we can close it off with Dave. I guess, in the meantime, this is the value, and a lot of times people have said this to me, because I like to be in cahoots with the NSA, I like to video record these performances so that you can't escape the watchful eye of everyone. These are going to be podcasts, including the feature, that was going to be the first one, and the open mics are podcasts as well. And I've heard people say, oh, you know, it's great because weather was really bad or people couldn't show up. But I had family that was on the other side of the country. They were able to actually see the video for it, which is, I hope, helpful for people. So that's going to be there, and if all goes according to plan, we'll have a feature of the Paul Ryan feature podcast on Friday. But I thought I would, well, I'll have to wait for Dave to come, so I'll have to make sure this is long enough. I've got two past features. I can't believe I'm doing this. The first two poems are the baseball poems. I was like, I don't want to read them, I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it. The first one is called Entire Town's Baseball Team. I never played baseball when I grew up. Didn't watch it on TV when I was little. But when my dad was young, while his aunt had 15 kids, he and his cousins were the entire town's baseball team. No, Dad is older. He sits in his chair and he watches the Cubs or the White Sox on TV. And even though I never saw him play, thinking of him and his cousins being the entire town's baseball team even gives me fond memories. Although this one actually was longer because I was able to put something other than baseball into it. This one's called Somebody's Scoring Somewhere. You can always have different references from baseball. I could walk into the bar Sluggers, right across the street from Chicago Cubs' Wrigley Field. I could walk into that bar and talk to the men there. And if I said, if you work at it, I bet you could find someone to really play ball with here. Maybe you could swing that bat of yours, make it past first, second, and third base, and you could even score a home run. And if I said that to men at a bar across the street from an honored baseball field, I'll bet most of the men wouldn't be thinking of baseball at all. Because that's the way a man's mind works. Everything can be reduced to sexual conquests. You know, get women too drunk to protest, because if you get her drunk enough, maybe you can even score. And if you think I'm kidding, know that a study was done of college-aged men recently, where they all seemed to agree that rape was wrong. But at the same time, Upwards of 2/3 of the men plan to get a woman drunk enough so that they could sexually force themselves on her. What a way to score, boys. Because to you it doesn't matter how the women feel. To you it only matters who scores the most. Because in your mindset, that's who wins the game. Thanks. And I remember you're like, I don't know if I should be applauding for that or what. But I like, I didn't want to read them. I didn't. But what I did want to do is read a couple things for the man I've been married to for almost 15 years. And as I said, I like my scientific notation, so this first one is called Eyes. Growing up, the boys didn't like me. Kids made fun of me. I was raised to think that I was a plain girl, easily overlooked. I'd look at my eyes, the same eyes my dad thought made me always look sad, and wanted to think that the song Brown-Eyed Girl could have been about me. How silly of me. I should know better. And maybe that is why I've always loved blue eyes. Eyes not like mine. The eye is a fascinating thing. It's beautiful to study, especially yours. If I were a biologist, I'd take high-res photos of that eye of yours. Maybe magnify it as large as I could so I could study it like a slide under a microscope. I'd search for meaning in those mesmerizing patches and shades of that unique blue hue. They say science can explain all, so maybe it can explain why I'm so in love with your eyes, or why I'm so in love with you. Eyes are windows to the outside world, but they're also portals inward, giving us mere mortals fleeting glimpses to who we are inside. I think our colored irises floating on that ocean of white, punctuated with a pupil, were designed that way so that we could follow each other's gazes closely. I'm watching you. You probably see that. I hope you were watching me, too. Because scientists have studied the crypts, the pigment dots and furrows of the eye, and scientists are now figuring out that the eye really is the window to the soul. So, maybe I was on the right track by loving your eyes and never wanting to lose sight of them again. I have to say, long enough for Dave to come back. Where's my Dave? And maybe that's him, but nope, different door, sorry. This one is called, which so sounds like a romantic title, Jihadists and Astrophysics. I know gangs in Chicago shoot people on the streets. I know terrorists fly airplanes into buildings, set off bombs in basements. I know jihadists chop off the heads of anyone who doesn't believe the way they do. I know these high-rises I adore will one day crumble and be reduced to the dust from which we came. I know the sun one day will swell to touch the only earth we know, incinerating our only home. I know anything I say may only be a shout into a void. But I also know that I love you. And that love transcends the killings, the destruction. I have loved you since before I was born. This is why I am so lucky that I found you. And there may be gunfire. There may be explosions. Buildings may crumble. Our Earth's oceans won't save us from our giant red sun. But what I have for you, this love I have for you, this love transcends all. It has existed. It does exist. It will always exist. You may believe that there are too many things we need to save ourselves from, but we have one constant we cannot forget. My love for you has existed. It does exist, and it will always exist. My love for you will outlast the beheadings, rise above the explosions, transcend the destruction. My love for you transcends the jihadists. It transcends astrophysics. It transcends the earth, the stars. It transcends the elements that make you and I, that make the universe itself. My love for you will always transcend. Thank you. That's about all the romance you're going to get out of me today. In the meantime, if there's anybody that would like to come up for any open micers, I think Dave is here. I can't see whenever these lights are up. Dave, are you here, darling?
Yes.
Yes. All right, give it, and take as long as you like, my darling, because we missed out on the first part. Give it up for Dave. Come on. Woo! I fear that I clap really loud.
No, don't worry about it.
Although we want to magnify it so that you're awesome.
No, it's fine. Even with one hand clapping, I can hear it. Okay, so my first poetry reading. Usually I'm here for open mics, for music. I just moved here a few months ago from San Francisco, so I'm sort of new to the Midwest, but I can really tell from being here for a few times that I enjoy the company here and the times I've been here before.
Well, you're awesome. And you've got a spot for your beer. I always try to leave the stand there so that everybody's prepared.
The poet's best friend, pretty much, so thank you. I'd like to start off with a poem I read. Actually, this came off a wine napkin I had at a bar in the Embarcadero Center a few months ago, and I happened to found it. Eyes wide shut as the young man saw the glistening of a tear on the barkeeper's face. This fleeting hand caused his brandy to drop as his mind was adrift in some other space. The faces of Byron, Shelley, and Joyce flowed freely in his glass, while Pynchon, Cohen, and Huxley came from an ounce of unlit grass. The sky was paved with auburn and blue, with a shade of pale, as the streets were filled with empty cans of Irish store-bought ale. The soldier stood lucid like a willow in the wind, as he passed down the floor while the flower children sinned. He turns his head back to the brandy as the radio blares Sweet Jane. The reflection looks back on his Bukowski-like face as he says, this is just the same. Second one's called Dreamers. The heavyweights stood sideways on the floor, pounds of flesh shed, yet they wanted more. The roars of applause were stifled by gin, and the sounds of laughter in the house of sin. She sat center stage serenading the crowd as the suits waited for her to shut off her shrouds. The heavyweight thought of his mother and cried over the lullaby that soothed him after she tanned his thighs. After her set, she raced towards the bar, making friends with the bourbon she drank from the jar. She sees Barbara Stanwyck on the tube and starts to come over the dream she had of L.A. that has since come undone. She takes a boxer up off the ground as she decides to buy him around. Both of them dig through each other's empty eyes as they realize their dreams can no longer die.
Oh, wow.
And I just wrote that about 10 minutes ago, so.
Sweet, I like the landing, that was good.
And the last one is sort of I should say it's a belated eulogy to one of my favorite poets slash musicians. I think guess who it is by the poem.
It's me. I was so
Close. You're still here in spirit and in body. The sounds of 3 chords saved his life one night as the radio blurred rock and roll hard. He caught a glimpse of himself in the mirror and realized that he was not going to part. He strolled along Market Street as people stood to stare as the lone walker on the wild side. The manic pressure of the city and lights made him feel he had nothing to hide. The night ended with some coveted vinyl he took from the record store. Tears stained his eyes as Perfect Day played, and he realized he wanted more. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I love it when newbies come and we can shower them with lovin's. Sorry, I'm not being goofy. And I like to shower people who are awesome, or every single person who goes up here with lovin's, like this man who does an art comedy show every month. So please, I'm so happy he's here. Please give it up for Vito Victoria Garland.
Thanks. I was in a poetry workshop and we had to do an unusual exercise. We had to write a poem in 8 minutes using 8 words they gave us. The words were, let's see, pretend, table, glimmer, flip, excuse, dishwasher, parakeet, Velcro, ghost, appetite. We had to start the poem with a cliche. That was the assignment. This is what I came up with. A friend will always be there for you. To eat your food, spend your money, waste your time. Time to fill the dishwasher while you suffer in silent neglect. I see a glimmer of God in your eyes, but the feeling fades quickly. My appetite goes away when your parakeet sticks his head in the sugar bowl. The bird relieves himself in the kitchen table while we embrace without feeling. How long can we pretend their love has not long since flown? Thanks. And this is actually, I did a mashup a while ago, and I took a line from Thomas Transtromer. You know, he won some really big poetry prizes, and also a local poet, Stephanie Dunn. I mashed it up with old Captain America comic lines and the lines from the national songs. So each verse has one of each of those lines. I fall asleep among the swallows and wake among the eagles, as midget angels perform joyful crucifixions. Guide my hand, Father, as I avenge your death. I defend my family with an orange umbrella. It is silent as a Quaker service. The girls say meow as their brains turn to ash. I've learned a lot since the days when I reveled in my enemies' deaths. I don't have the drugs to sort it out. I'm surrounded by written signs I can't interpret. I'm totally illiterate. Never have the homeless looked so more fashionable. And since I returned in life, after being frozen in ice flow, I never married, but Ohio don't remember me. Thanks.
It is always such a treat when he shows up and I'm like, hey,
You're here, that's awesome. I don't know if there was anybody else that I think I see this lovely woman standing up there. Please give it up, because I always want to hear more and more from this woman, and I don't know if it's going to be angry or not, but give it up for Elizabeth Harper!
Yes, we're continuing with the angry theme. I've got 3 more angry ones. Angry is my happy. I like being angry. I like being pissed off. The oppressor is not going to trick me into being complacent. Don't tell me it's in my best interest to let go of perceived wrongs, to forget past injustices. I'm remembering. I'm holding on. Thinking is happiness. The end of thought is defeat. They tell you if you stop looking for causes, explanation, history, you'll be happier. the happiness of pigs ready for slaughter, the happiness of those who have given up, the happiness of those who have sold out for TV shows and scented bath soap, those who have given up on throwing up. And why the fuck should I be happy? Because it makes you feel better? But what you call happiness isn't my happiness. When you say happy, you mean subservient, at ease, subdued, serene. Fuck you, you fucking asshole. Angry is my happy. Postmenopausal pretty hate machine. I don't care if you hate me. I'm not one of those women who needs constant approval to be a people pleaser. I'm postmenopausal and I say whatever the fuck I want to say, whatever I think needs to be said. I'm not here to cater to your ego. I'm not your mother substitute. Don't assume I'm obligated to take care of your feelings. I was angry in the womb, trying to kick my way out, only to have to keep a lid on it so as not to scare the kindergarten teachers. No more holding back. I don't have that much time left, and I'm not going to spend it biting my tongue. And here's another angry one. You don't want to break my heart. Angry love. Suck my dick, you dirty little cunt. I can't make you hurt enough. I'll fuck your face and I'll fuck your butt. Sit on your face while I watch smut. Rape is my game. I aim to shut you up, bring you to your knees, doubled over in pain. Fuck up your brain until you forget your own name. Mommy won't save you, the police won't come. I'll masturbate while you suck on my gun. You lying whore, you pathetic excuse for a man. After I'm done, I'll shove you out the door. You'll never see me again. You lie, you plead, you bleed, you need. I don't care. With a fling of my hair, I'll be back to my tricks. Hope you fall down the stairs and crack your skull. When you're dead, I'll eat your blood, stick my fingers in your brain and twirl them in the gray gunk, cut off your limbs and stuff them in a trunk. Put it in storage. When it becomes a stinking black, decaying porridge, I'll take photos to display in an art gallery. Call the show The Decay of Western Civilization and charge admission. I'll bask in the glory, I'll tell the story of how I turned the tables on the star of his own fables. I don't want your gratitude, I appreciate your pulchritude. You're a dude's dude, a Greek god in the nude. Too bad you couldn't appreciate me too. Thanks.
That gray muck. That was awesome. I want to just check to make sure. Was there anybody else that would like to come up? I don't believe there was. Is there? Is there? Going. Okay. I'm going to close off the open mic. And I decided I was actually going to read something really short because I like to tell a little story. And this is not angry. Victor Fan, who does... why can't I think of he is an illustrator. There I go, there's my brain. And he has had illustrations and short stories done in magazines, and he decided to work with me on doing an illustration for a poem of mine, a little kid's poem called Under the Sea. And they're really, really good photos. And when I get them, I put them up on Facebook. They're adorable. But I haven't heard from him in a while. And so I was like, hey, I just thought I'd touch base. How are things going? Or what's up? Blah, 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 something. And he's like, oh, well, I was just getting through a divorce. So I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry. Because he has this beautiful girl. I don't know any details. I feel terrible, terrible, terrible about this. Because I think the brown hair in the girl that he was drawing, or the brown eyes with the blonde hair in the girl, I think was because of his daughter. And so now it's just like, just because for Victor, because I hope all is well with him, and he's off in California, and I hope all is well with him, so I'm going to read this stupid little poem that we were going to put into a drawing book called Under the Sea. I'd like to be under the sea to watch the fish go swim. I'd like to squish a jellyfish and then let go of him. I'd like to grab a soft-shelled crab and take him for a walk. I'd like to hurdle over a turtle and teach dolphins to talk. I'd like to see a manatee and then go play by him. I'd like to do all of these things. If only I could swim. Under the sea. little and we're doing a book. And it's our goofy little thing. My well wishes go to Victor, and hopefully things are working out for him. And I hope everything's working out for everybody, and especially the Cubs, the White Sox players who couldn't play today in a good crowd. Oh, man. I hope everybody has a great evening and have a safe drive home. And I hope to see everybody in 2 weeks, because I think it was in 2 weeks I've got a great feature from the UK poet Oz Hardwick, and I look forward to seeing you all. And thank you all. Thank you very much. Thank you.